You know, sometimes I wish I would have gone on some high school trips like this one. Welcome back, guys. I just watched a movie called Pitching Tent, and it's on Amazon right now. I really had fun watching this movie, and it felt pretty nostalgic to some extent, even though it takes place in the 80s, and I wasn't born in the 80s. Some aspects of the movie did remind me of high school and how I felt like in the last days of my senior year. So basically, the movie revolves around Danny, who's gonna go attend his final trip to trout camp with some of his friends. All they want to do is party, they just want to drink, they want to smoke weed, and possibly get laid. It mainly revolves around Danny, who's having like a hard decision of whether going to work with his father at his factory or going to school. And at the same time, he's a very good artist, but you know, his dad doesn't really care about that because it doesn't make him any money. And at the same time, his dad doesn't understand, you know, how school can possibly help him achieve his goals in life. So the whole time, you know, he's trying to figure that out. And then at the same time, while they're on this camping trip or whatever, they kind of like run into some trouble, and then Danny separates from his group, and then he finds himself in Goddess camp where he meets this girl, and this girl, you know, throughout the entire movie tries to help them decide, you know, what should you do with your life. You know, you're an amazing artist, you should follow your dreams, or you know, if you're leaning towards your dad, you know, go with your dad. And basically that's the plot. The plot of this movie is pretty simple. It's all about, you know, their final days. It's about, you know, making decisions at the very end. You know, where are your friends gonna go, or are you ever gonna see your friends, you know? So like, let's make the best of it and have fun. The characters in the movie themselves were pretty likable. I really liked the entire cast. Maybe the counselor a little bit less than the rest, because he can be a little bit annoying at points, because the counselor is like pretty much telling everybody what to do or how to do the things in their lives, and at points it just gets kind of annoying, but you know, it kind of adds to the humor. There's these other two fishermen in the movie itself that they kind of just go along to the camp, and they're pissed off because the kids are taking their spot. There's a whole side with the parents and stuff like that that's pretty cool, and like the brother that used to be like evil and a good for nothing son, but at the same time he adds some comedic relief. And then you have like the whole trout camp, and then like Danny being in Goddess camp. So there's a lot of like subplots interweaving into this big plot, but in some points it was good, and in other points it kind of like was a little bit messy for me, but it wasn't like all that much like jumbled up, because in the end it kind of ties it up pretty nice. What this movie really had going for me was the characters, the relationship between Danny, his father, Danny or his friends, and even Danny and the girl from Goddess camp. I can't remember her name. They all were pretty good, and the relationships felt pretty believable. Now the relationship between Danny and the girl from the Goddess camp, I feel like that was a little bit rushed too much, because they kind of go into like conclusions like right away, if you know what I mean. So I feel like that was just like sped up like real quick, because most of the time we spend in trout camp just trying to figure out, you know, what these guys want to do. They just want to get laid and have fun. And a lot of the comedy in the movie itself, I would say, was raunchy, like very vulgar. There's like some nudity to some extent, not that bad, but at the same time it's mainly like just perverted jokes, or you know, like dick jokes, or like, you know, just trying to be funny about, you know, like how should we get laid with these girls. But for me, I feel like it wasn't like too extreme or too over the top. So I enjoyed it. Now the movie in a way felt pretty nostalgic to me because of the way the high schoolers were in the movie. And at the very end, you know, they kind of feel sad because they're going different ways. And in a way that kind of reminded me of my high school days, or basically any high school student, you know, they're going to go away from their friends. So it kind of, you kind of feel sad because you might not see them again, or you might not see them for a long time. And I remember one scene in particular where one of the friends, I think the Asian friend, he finds like his dad's like Discman or Walkman. I think it was a Discman. But it reminded me of my days, like I think in middle school, where I had a CD player and I thought I was a shit. And I remember I would stuff this huge CD player into my hoodie, and I would walk down the hallway thinking I'm badass, wearing my headphones, listening to music. And then the funny part was, like, if you walk too fast or you moved a little bit too much, then the music will skip a beat. But anyways, one of the best scenes for me in the movie will come towards the end, whenever like there's a big conflict of, you know, why has Danny not like gone to work, or why is he not pursuing college. Like, he's very conflicted. And then the scenes that I really like was between Danny and his father. Those scenes were pretty emotional, and I really like how they delivered their lines, and it was very believable. I really like that aspect of the movie, because not only was it comedic, it was also pretty serious once it got to the end. I think that Michael Grant, who played Danny, was pretty cool. I really liked his character, and overall the entire cast. I mean, like I said, like there's maybe some exceptions to some of the characters that I didn't like. There's a lot of scenes where like they get cut up, you know, going back and forth between the fisherman and the counselor, and I kind of didn't like that, because it would do it so many times, and it would kind of like interrupt some of the scenes with like the kids like trying to like talk to the girls. And then there were other characters in the movie, mainly the girls at the camp, that really didn't add much to the movie besides just being like sex objects, I would say. Besides, you know, hey, we should hook up with the kids, or why are they not hooking up with us, like kind of like that. So I kind of didn't like that a lot in the movie, but besides that, I liked, you know, what they were going for. Obviously the main attraction for me in the movie was, you know, Danny and his friends and the father. It had a really good story, and I really enjoyed it at the end of the movie. In the end, I wish there it was a little bit more about Danny's life, you know, like what's gonna happen after he finishes high school, because he's kind of going on this path that we don't really know what's gonna happen to him. But in a way, it kind of ends with a like happy, sappy ending. So I kind of like that, but not really. I wish it would have like kind of just ended it with the emotional scene. But other than that, I think it was a pretty fun movie, and I'm gonna give it a 3.3 out of 5. I really recommend it if you guys are into like, you know, happy ending movies, or like, you know, movies with like super raunchy comedy, or like, you know, just any like 80s movie. Which, by the way, I think the costume design for this movie was pretty cool, and I really dig their outfits. But yeah, guys, those are my overall thoughts on Pitching Tents. Have you guys watched it? Did you guys like it? Did you guys think it was lame? Did you guys think this movie just been done too many times for you to enjoy it? If you did like it, you know, what did you like about the movie? But as always, guys, you know, you guys can follow me on Twitter at FMO1126. You can also subscribe to my channel here. It's free, and you can hit the bell button at the bottom so you can be reminded of when my next review is going to be up. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. But as always, guys, stay tuned.